Hello, my name is Gaurav Gupta, and for my project on analyzing and researching about a piece of medieval scientific literature, I will be conducting my research on the architecture of the Middle Ages. Throughout history, it has been the architecture of a society that has greatly defined the magnitude of technological advancement for all of the different time periods. For example, the architecture of ancient Egypt was characterized by the elaborate temples and ornate pyramids. The same went for the brilliant sculptures and sanctuaries created during the ancient Greek and ancient Roman time periods. So pretty much for any time in history, you can directly link the technological advancement of the society to the technological advancement of their architecture. So the medieval piece of literature from where I got my inspiration for deciding to do extra research on architecture of the Middle Ages was from the Canterbury Tales, and to be more specific, the Knight's Tale, and the author was Geoffrey Chaucer. Now, I'm going to go through a brief summary of the Knight's Tale. The three main characters of the Knight's Tale are Arcite, Palamon, and Theseus. As you can see in this illustration, this is Arcite and Palamon. They are both two knights from Thebes. This next slide is a illustration of Theseus, who happens to be the Duke of Athens. Now the story begins when the Duke of Athens, Theseus, is alarmed when a group of 4 weeping women stop him right in front of his path while he is on his way back to the city of Athens. The 4 women tell Theseus that their husbands have all died in battle in Thebes, and that they are not allowed proper burial. So, because of this, Theseus decides to help the woman out by marching to Thebes, and he easily conquers the city. But while in Thebes, he does notice 2 wounded enemy knights, and they happen to be Arcite and Palamon. And rather than killing them off, he finds a way to heal the 2 men and condemns them to a life of imprisonment in a tall and dark prison tower located in Athens. So Arcite and Palamon begin to spend many years in prison. But while they are in prison, both of them began to take notice of Theseus' younger sister, Emily. They both take their first glances at her while looking through the window of their prison tower, and at first sight they are both struck with love. They both soon realize that each of them has fallen in love with the younger sister of Theseus, and they soon begin to fight and argue over her. However, they both soon come to the realization that because of their current predicament of being locked up in a prison tower, neither of them can ever leave to meet her or be with her. There does come the day, however, many years later, when an ally of Arcite and Theseus goes to Theseus and asks him for the freedom of Arcite. Theseus ultimately agrees to let Arcite go back to Thebes, but on the condition that he never comes back to Athens. He ultimately banishes Arcite from the city of Athens. Now, while back in Thebes, Arcite becomes very weak and frail due to his lovesickness. He ultimately decides that he can take it no longer and decides to go back to Athens while in disguise so that he can continue to see and be near Emily. He takes on a job as a page in Emily's chamber, and he even goes as far as changing his name so that no one can remember him. After 7, now all this, while Arcite is in disguise and back in Athens, Palamon is still in prison, and after 7 years, he concocts a poison made of several different types of drugs that he uses to give to the prison guards, and because of that, he is able to escape from the prison. Now, as soon as Palamon escapes the prison, he confronts the disguised Arcite, and they both start fighting each other because they both feel that Emily is theirs and not the others. So while they're fighting in the woods, Theseus finds both of them, and both of the knights reveal to Theseus that this is what they're fighting for the love of Emily. And instead of killing the 2 men like Theseus had originally intended to do, Theseus instead decides to hold a duel 50 weeks from the time between the 2 men in which both of them can bring with them 100 army members. Theseus declares that the winner of the duel will be the knight who will take Emily's hand in marriage. Theseus himself is very excited about the duel, and in honor of the duel, he decides to construct an enormous theater for all the spectators to view the tournament. At the gate of the stadium, he places 3 temples, all designated to the 3 different gods: Venus, who is the goddess of love; Mars, the god of war; and Diana, the goddess of celibacy. So, these 3 pieces of architecture, the temples and the stadium/theater, is where I got my inspiration to continue to do further research on medieval architecture. All of the designs within the Knight's Tale take on a very intricate design. Chaucer uses a great amount of description in the setting of each of the brilliant forms of architecture. So as we go on with the story, Palamon ultimately and Arcite both go to the temples to pray to the gods to bring them victory. Palamon visits the goddess Venus, while Arcite visits the god Mars. Both of them receive word from the gods that they will become victorious. After both Palamon and Arcite have their meetings with the gods in their respective temples, they begin the duel. In the end, Palamon does eventually become victorious, only because Arcite dies in the process of the duel. After years of sadness because of the loss of a friend, Palamon and Emily live happily ever after, and that concludes the story. Now, here is an example of a description through one of Chaucer's passages in The Knight's Tale, in which he describes the theater in which the duel is held. And as you read the passage, you can easily find out that Chaucer describes the theater as being very large in magnitude. He indicates that it's a mile around, it's made from stone and marble, and it's full of seats for spectators. So there's a high level of architectural brilliance that goes into this. And for my thesis will be, as exemplified by the beautifully detailed and illustrated designs of the theater used for the main duel in the story's plot, and the temples devoted to the mythological gods Venus, Mars, and Diana in Geoffrey Chaucer's The Knight's Tale, the architecture of the Middle Ages was exceedingly creative and advanced for the times, both in Chaucer's work and in everyday Middle Ages life. As I continue with my research, I will try to do my best in finding more information about the technological advancements in the field of architecture in the Middle Ages, in the forms of medieval theaters, medieval stadiums, medieval churches, temples, cathedrals, and any other types of medieval religious architecture.